Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Inside the U live postgame show where the Miami Hurricanes lost 88-70 to Maryland. We're going to go straight to the live postgame press conference in Uncasville, Connecticut, as Miami falls in the championship game of the Hall of Fame tip-off tournament. Drops to 4-1. Drop in the questions, drop in the comments below. Let me know what you think of this game. Miami's going to come up first, and we're going to go straight to them. Maybe ask a few questions. I've got a few questions in mind, but we'll see. On Saturday, they kind of mixed in the Zoom with, in addition to the in-person press conference. So it's kind of a little tricky, but we'll see if we can get some questions in right here, and definitely want to make sure the audio is okay. I definitely got a take here. They're just getting set up. You know, there's a lot to get into. Miami defensively didn't do well enough guarding the three in the first half. Inside the paint, they struggled there as well. We'll get into some stats and some things there. But just all around, they just really struggled. Maryland, I was very impressed with how Maryland played on Saturday. I thought very highly of St. Louis, and Maryland came out with a huge game there. So Maryland's just playing really well. The thing stands out to me today. For Maryland, inside out, all five of their starters in double figures. Miami just couldn't get things going. Kind of started off poorly with Wugo Poplar getting in foul trouble. 3.5 minutes in the game. We got Coach here.
All right, folks, we have Miami head coach Jim Larranaga here and fourth-year junior guard Isaiah Wong. We'll start with an opening statement from Coach and then go into questions. Coach.
Well, we didn't have the same energy that we had yesterday, and Maryland took it right to us. They were the aggressive from start to finish. And the one clear statistic that shows that is they got 39 rebounds to our 20. We really got crushed inside, and we're not a very big team, so if we're not really connected and doing a great job of rebounding as a team, we're going to get hurt. We had Isaiah had a very nice offensive night, but he needed more help.
Questions?
Coach, I mentioned getting crushed inside on the rebounds, but they came out again hitting a lot of three-pointers again today. Was it something that they're just getting open and getting good shots, or was there anything you guys were doing defensively that were allowing them to get those shots?
I just think they played very hard and very well. They shared the ball extremely well. They're a really good team. And they have the right combination of size to rebound and score at the rim and perimeter shooting that makes you stretch your defense out. We tried trapping them. They got it out of the trap, drove it right to the basket, and if they missed, they just offensive rebounded it in. They had 18 second chance points, and what did we lose by? 18. That's a big part of the game.
Let's go to Chris Stock on Zoom.
Coach, you said offensively Isaiah needed some help. What made it difficult to score against Maryland? What did they do well defensively?
I thought they did everything well. They put a lot of pressure on our ball handlers. They tried to blow up handoffs. They did a good job on our ball screen. Big guys got out there and helped whenever our guys got free. And they're bigger, right? We have to learn how to play as a small ball team, and we're learning.
Questions for Isaiah? Go back to Chris on Zoom.
Isaiah, again, just your thoughts on this one, just totality of the game, kind of what went wrong in your mind.
I feel like as a team, we was playing a little low energy. I felt like just a little low energy. We gotta pick it up consistently with like yesterday we played good, and today we had low energy, and like Coach L said, we didn't get a lot of rebounds, and I felt like that's what killed us throughout the game.
Anything else? All right, thank you.
Can you repeat that? Was playing their offense was pretty good, and the way we was coming back, but they still kept composure and all that, and they still played their game, and and they was still getting rebounds at that time.
All right. Thank you.
So it's a quick one. I had more questions. It's tough to ask questions from Zoom when you're not there. The moderator's got to go to Zoom and in person, but I was trying to get my hand up and down. But anyways, you heard a few comments from Coach, and I think he summed it up because really Maryland just outplayed Miami on both sides of the ball, both ends of the court there. I thought early on you could see some struggles there. Again, Maryland's knocking down three-pointers. I think if you heard the TV broadcast, they weren't known for knocking down threes the first 3 games. And that's something I'd be interested in talking to Coach about is Maryland just looked a lot different these 2 days than they did the first 3 games. They really got things going. They have a new coach in Kevin Willard who really stresses defense from Seton Hall, and they've done well defensively. But these last 2 days, you saw that the offensive output that they have, again, all 5 guys highly involved. They really did a good job there. And Miami just couldn't get things going. One thing, Miami's not necessarily going to be a great rebounding team, but I thought early on it was very disappointing that Maryland was able to get a lot of offensive rebounds. They actually had more offense. I think it was 6-3 in terms of Maryland, 6 offensive boards, Miami 3 defensive rebounds, and that's a terrible combination because you've got to get more defensive boards when the shots go up there. So that was disappointing. Again, just the high energy stuff that Coach mentioned just wasn't there. They didn't have enough going on there. And then also too, offensively, Nigel Pack is just really struggling to find his groove here. He goes 1 for 4 from 3. It's the baseline 3 late in the game. It's already decided there. 2 for 9 until that point. He's scoreless in the first half. And the other things too is, with Pack, no rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 30 minutes, just not doing enough to impact the game. And I'm finding it interesting either if he's struggling with that point guard spot, struggling with the new team, whatever that might be, it's just not going down for him so far. Only 5 games into the year. But he's just not in a good groove. And I think defensively he has some lapses as well, either giving up shots or drives. And so it's just not been a good start necessarily for Nigel. Everyone knows his track record with shooting threes. You feel like those numbers will come back to it, but he's just not off to a good start. I want to look at the stats here. Drop in the comments. I'm glad you guys are here. Canes Cats Heats definitely appreciate it. Yeah, I like doing these live videos. I'm going to have to figure out a way to work it out because they're not doing Zoom and to do a live post-game show at the arena, which I've been to home games, but so we're going to have to work some things out there. And you're right, man. They just didn't miss. Maryland goes 30 of 50. I'm going to bring up the stats here. Let's go to Maryland just to see a few comments from them from the game here.
Coach, you've been holding teams to 20% from 3 the whole season. Miami only shot 25% today. What have you really seen from the team to kind of adapt to that defensive system quickly and hold teams from behind the arc?
No, I think these guys are working hard and understanding what we're trying to do defensively. I think, it helps that they're older guys. It hurts sometimes because they play different systems, but I think for the most part, these guys have a great feel. They're all big-time players. And so when you have older guys who are smart, who are also big-time players, they get things a little bit quicker than a freshman would. So I think they've all worked really hard to understand what we're trying to do defensively, and it's helping us win games.
Yeah, Coach, this may be a cliche, but given what Miami accomplished last year, reaching the Elite Eight, a pair of elite guards in Peck and Wong, I would define this as a signature victory. Agree, disagree, or in either case, why?
Yeah, I mean, Miami's very good. And obviously, Coach Larranaga, 700 wins, is a Hall of Fame basketball coach. But, Yeah, I mean, I think we're really not worried about signature wins or where we are. I think we still have a long way to go. I mean, we're good. We have great players, but they're still trying to learn this system. And they're still trying to get comfortable. I mean, we're having turnovers not because of the players. It's more or less my fault. I'm putting them in situations or, calling some plays that, we haven't gone over 1,000 times. So I think we're more just focused on us. Obviously, yeah, I mean, to beat a good St. Louis team and a good Miami team, that's great. But, I think we still have a long way to go.
Dante, you, the second game in a row, you guys have come out and attacked on offense and really been lethal at three-point range. You guys just clicking pretty well on offense out there today? Just when you got out there, felt comfortable?
Yeah, Coach stresses moving the ball side to side. When we get the ball side to side, we can pretty much get anything we want, any option. And we're a selfless team, so all the options are a great option for us.
Coach, what's just going through your head right now? Undefeated start, championship win. Tell us what your thoughts are on the weekend as a whole and what you have coming next to compensate at home.
I mean, I'll be honest, you guys, you're going to think I'm nuts. Just trying to think how long it's going to take me to get home and if there's going to be traffic on the belt. So honestly, what I'm thinking, I'm kind of hungry. And I'm hoping I don't hit traffic on the belt, which is it today Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday.
It's probably a pretty good chance. So
yeah, we want to let you get out of here, Coach. The turnovers, they had points off of turnovers, 18-11. But your second chance points, 18-10, negated that. Would you feel that your second chance points kept you in this game? That's what Coach Larranaga thought was the biggest difference.
yeah, I mean, our turnovers. This is the first time that, again, and Don and Jahmir will tell you. I mean, I think I have the best backcourt in the country right now, and I think they'll agree. It's the first time they've played this level of defense consistently, and to do that back to back, what I'm asking him to do, some of those turnovers are just kind of, first time we've had to play back to back games, and so, I knew going in that I thought Juju and we could really hurt them on the offensive glass, but I thought my guard play was outstanding. I thought these two young men played just off the charts.
Following up on that, I sat with an NBA scout. He said it's the best he's ever seen you play, Dante. I want to hear your comments about, and also he said he's never seen you in the shape you're in this year.
This is Don Carey. It's not Dante. This is Don Carey. Yeah. Dante played great. So did Don. Don played good too. Jahmir played good. Yeah. Anybody have anything else? For Don or Jahmir?
Yeah, I was just wondering for Don and Jahmir, just through 5 games and through these first 2 big tests, how have you guys kind of settled in and grown comfortable with each other and the rest of the team?
We're still growing. We get after it in practice. That builds our chemistry a lot. I feel like we're still growing. We still have a lot to, get under our belt and still got a lot to learn. So it's good getting the first 5 wins, and we just got to keep going from there.
So we're just going to wrap that up. And yeah, certainly an awkward moment there with the not knowing who was out there with the press conferences. So I was just wrapping up. It felt like it was really going sluggish there. Drop in the comments below, but I want to get into some stats or some other observations. I thought there was a good question in. I want to address that first. But yeah, one of the thing was, what was the difference between yesterday's game and today's? Look, I just thought Miami played a lot better. I think Maryland, again, they're just at a really good place with how they're playing right now. Again, they've got their 5 guys they like offensively, and they're playing well on defense. You heard Coach Willard talk about how it's got an older team and older guys, and they've got transfers. They've got guys in new positions. You saw Carey there. He's a transfer. Been a few places, an older guy, and Jahmir Young, a transfer as well from Charlotte. So they've got some guys that are new to the team, but he's new, and they're able to kind of mold it all together. And I just think Maryland's playing really well right now. Defensively, there's some principles there that make things difficult. You heard the reporter ask about 3-point shooting. Maryland's done a great job of that, defending the threes so far this year. And, again, Miami needs to be able to knock down threes. They go 5 of 20. In this one, shoot 25%, so certainly not good enough there. And just looking at Maryland right now, coming into the game, they were 10th in the country in 3-point defense, 21% allowed. So certainly they've done a good job there. And what they're doing is they're pressuring the ball. They're pressuring the perimeter really well. They know Miami wants to shoot threes and get going there. And Miami's got a few guys that can hit them. You saw Jahmir, step out and hit one. Only second time he's made a three in his career. That's not going to be there, but they were backing off him, and he took one. And anyone that knows basketball knows if you make one, another one's coming. So he did shoot another one and miss it. But, I just think Miami was out of sync from the beginning. Yeah, I think the height definitely affected it. What was interesting, R. Johnson's here, appreciate you. One thing that I find is different is, Providence is going through a little bit more of a transition. I'd watched 2 of their games going into Saturday's game, and they're kind of going through with a lot of new guys, same coach, but a lot of new guys. So I think they're kind of up and down, but they also had size. I thought that they could give Miami trouble, and Miami did a good job, whereas Maryland was able to expose Miami on both ends with their size. And, there was a moment, I want to mention this because it's something I talked about in the preview show with Justin. Just if Miami ever wants to make an adjustment, it's not about necessarily starting lineup. It's just about lineups in a game, some rotation stuff. So there was a moment in the second half where it wasn't Jahmir in the game, but it was, AJ Casey, Anthony Walker were both in at the same time, in addition to Jordan Miller. So it's that concept I mentioned in terms of shifting Miller down to a 3, and I didn't get a chance, but I'll check back and look at the kind of play-by-play, that sequence. So it only went on for a few minutes, but I'm curious just in that moment how it looked, how Jordan did. Again, I kind of caught it fast, but when you're talking about size, this is the roster they have. They don't have a ton of options with size. Favor Are is a freshman. He got 2 minutes today. He didn't play much yesterday. He's not playing a lot. He's an option that they could play at the 5 if they want to slot some guys down for some more size. But, one of the things when you talk about size is last year with Sam Wardenberg at 6'10", 6'11", although he wasn't a back-to-the-basket scorer or anything like that, he still had good length and good size, where Miami just doesn't have that right now. And I think that's one thing that they've definitely got to figure out in terms of how they're going to do this, because other teams obviously are going to watch this game, see how Miami was exposed, and move forward. And Miami's got to learn a lot from this game and figure out how to attack things moving forward. So there was something early on I touched on. I thought Miami got out of sync early when Wooga Poplar had to go to the bench 3.5 minutes into the game. And I didn't get a chance once again. I would have liked to have asked Coach more questions, but just the decision to sit Wooga for the rest of the half, even though the game was it looked like it was getting away from Miami. Some coaches will, ideally you put that guy on. It was 2 fouls. Maybe you want to sit him, but some coaches, look, we got to play him. And they didn't do that. They sat Wooga the rest of the game. I thought it threw off some rotation stuff. Bensley Joseph comes off the bench. He ends up playing 22 minutes. He was a minus 19. That's not good enough, clearly. And he didn't provide a lot there. Just missed a 3-pointer. Had 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 turnovers. So just not a good performance by Bensley. And that's the thing. When you go with the Wooga, that's what they decide to do. Harlan Beverly got some minutes too at times. In place of Wooga, they decide to keep him in, but he picks up 2 quick fouls to start the second half as well. And then coach ends up taking him out, but he only plays 9 minutes. And it was disappointing because he did get a couple baskets early on, but I really thought that threw things off. And this is a team early on where rotations, and Miami wants to play with their 5 guys. And they've been doing that a lot, whether it's exhibition games or even some blowouts. So they've not played a lot of combinations yet this season. And I think that kind of made things a little bit more difficult in this game. What would that have made the difference if Wooga could have played? No, certainly not. There were a lot of other factors, but I thought that definitely got Miami out of sync early in the game and in the first half. Another thing I think Miami's struggling with a little bit, and when I was at practice on Thursday, and I made a note of this in the article I wrote on the VIP notes there, but just Coach Larranaga wants this team to play with a lot of pace, a lot of speed. They said every game, basically his instructions, every game they want to be the faster team. I didn't feel like that happened today. I don't feel like they're pushing enough up court. we touched on 3-point shooting, but I don't think they're dictating tempo enough. And certainly it's difficult to do that, getting the ball out of the basket when Maryland's making a bunch of shots. It's tough to run or even push it, but I thought they didn't do a good enough job there. So I think I think there's a couple things too. I think with Norchad Jahmir, we could see that he could score. I think that was good for the weekend. I had a lot of concerns because he's not played well against better teams in his 2 years at Arkansas State. But he did put up points yesterday, 19 and 12 against Providence. And then today he goes 14 points, 6 rebounds there. So offensively, he is getting some buckets. However, defensively, still going to be something to work on. And he also has to limit his turnovers. For a guy like that doesn't get the ball a lot or not asked to create a lot. 3 turnovers is certainly too many. I touched on the 3 turnovers by Bensley, also stood out. But with Norchad, he's got to cut down on those turnovers. He does stay out of foul trouble for the most part. He ends up with 4, but he was able to stay on the court for 31 minutes. I think you would take that most games. In between 30 and 35 for Norchad is kind of where he's slotted to be. So fouls weren't a huge deal, but I think defensively they were able to get loose a little bit. I think Maryland was able to take advantage of that matchup, and I think that's something where Norchad's got to be a little bit better. Although, once again, he did perform with some buckets against some bigger opponents, so I think that's encouraging because that had not happened previously in his first 2 years at Arkansas State against better teams. So I think that's a takeaway. Another takeaway, while Nigel kind of works through some things on both ends of the court, I think without a doubt, I think Isaiah Wong, Jordan Miller, the 2 guys from last year's team, I think they're the 2 best players on the team. I think they've got to get the most shots. You saw tonight, 17 attempts for Isaiah, 14 for Jordan. So I'd like to see those production or those volumes continue. I think Jordan has to stay aggressive. I think this is a new role for Jordan because last year, Charlie Moore and Cam McGusty both got their shots before Jordan most games, where Jordan, I think, has to get more involved, understand his value is even more this year as an offensive player. And that's just going to be a transition, but I think it's great. 14 attempts. He'll work through some things. The 1 for 5 from 3. I don't expect that to happen. I think he'll be right closer to that mid-30s mark that we saw early on in his career at George Mason, kind of that 33. He dropped a little bit at Miami, but I think he's going to be a guy close to that 32, 35 range. I think he could definitely be in there. So 1 for 5. But I think he could certainly do well and offensively. No defensive rebounds for Jordan Miller. That's disappointing. He had 3 offensive boards. He had the 1 tip. That was a good moment there. There's something else too that I didn't get a chance to ask, and I thought this might come up, but Miami did a great job battling back. It certainly wasn't going well, but they get it within 10. I felt like on the live thread on the InsideTheU message boards, that's what I mentioned. Can you get it to 10 and then see how much time you have left from there? So they get it to 10, 73-63 with 6:21 left. They go to a timeout. Pretty sure Maryland called the timeout. However, right out of the timeout, Miami's not able to keep the momentum going. Immediately, Maryland goes down, gets an and 1. The foul by Wong. Wong misses a shot. Maryland keeps it going. Maryland goes on an 8-0 run, stretches the game out, and Miami really struggles from there. Once again, it was 73-63. So looking at it, 15-7 there was the margin for Maryland after it got cut to 10. So, just disappointing. Miami couldn't, maybe make a push, even though it certainly wasn't going well, but they didn't rattle Maryland enough to make a difference there. So we will see how things go moving forward. Any final questions, comments? I'm going to keep this short. I'd like to do this more often, but definitely if you guys have any comments, I've tried to address a lot of different guys. I think we definitely got to keep an eye on AJ Casey. He gets 8 minutes tonight, misses his only shot, a 3-pointer, gets a couple rebounds. But just a guy that a freshman to kind of pay attention to. I think he can provide something, some minutes there. And Anthony Walker goes 7 minutes. As I mentioned, they played together. You don't see that very often with those guys on the court this season. I think it might be the first time. Possibly. Actually, that wouldn't make sense because Walker can play the 4 or 5 as long as Casey. I'm sure they, coming off the bench there. So, but anyways, the fact that they played with Jordan Miller, you don't see that a ton. So we will see how that goes moving forward. Anthony Walker, like I said, he's just not finding his shot there, and he's playing 7 minutes, but no rebounds, assists. No, I think that was a big thing. A lot of guys just didn't have a lot of other stats, whether it was rebounds, assists. Miami gets the 8 assists on 28 field goals. I know Coach wants to get that closer to 15, So not enough there on the assist. And I think a lot of that goes with Nigel Pack at point guard. He only had one. Bensley Joseph, the backup point guard, he only had one. So those point guards got to find ways to find their teammates in some better shot opportunities. So that'll be something to watch for moving forward. So let's see, what else do we got? R. Johnson, why do you think Jakai isn't getting minutes? I've addressed Jakai quite a bit. He's just not on the same level. He's not. It's hard to say he's better than Harlan Beverly. Or he's not. Both ends of the court. They like what he can kind of bring defensively. He's just behind guys. I think that's all it comes down to. When you go to practice, he's on that third team, which is kind of like a scout team combination of guys. That's just kind of where he's been. He's just not done enough to really promote himself, to promote himself over the other guys. They just have better guys right now. And the way it's working, with Bensley Joseph, they gave Christian Watson just that last minute of action there. So he's not playing a lot either, but that's the other one after the wing, where it goes Watson and Robinson, but they're just kind of buried right now on the depth chart on the wing spots there. Yeah, I hear you. I think that's why people keep asking about Jakai, about his recruiting ranking. There's been nothing that to me to believe that he should get more playing time since he's been at Miami. I thought I think the rating was overrated. I think that's why he redshirted last year. He just wasn't on the same level these other guys. It's great that he's working hard. It's great that he's progressed a little bit. He had a few moments in practice the other day. It's just, once again, he's just not as good as those other guys, simply put, and the rankings were wrong with that, I believe. So I just don't think he's that kind of a guy right now. He could develop, and we'll see how things go. But certainly I just think that that's part of it, and I think that's why you've not seen him play very much. I think that is kind of pretty clear, even though I understand the intrigue and maybe assuming he's better than he is. But yeah, he came in with Wooga, and for example, he came in with Wooga and Bensley, and those two are clearly the better players and have been since day one. Okay, any other questions? Want to wrap this up? Miami plays St. Francis Brooklyn. They're on Wednesday, and then they go at UCF next week. So that'll be intriguing. That'll be real interesting to see how Miami does there, bounce back with their schedule there. UCF is certainly a tough team, and we'll get more into UCF stuff as it moves along. But I want to thank everybody for watching. It looks like you got maybe some issues with video, but hopefully we can do this moving forward. Definitely drop in the comments below if there's some things I didn't address that you'd like to hear about. Maybe I can answer the questions there. But hopefully you guys have a good rest of the day and take care. If you're just jumping on now, Coach Larranaga and Isaiah Wong talked. I'm going to chapter it off so you guys can go back and watch it back, see their comments, and also the Maryland press conference. Thanks again. I just want to show you guys real quick, just the last ACC out-of-town scoreboard here. Just 2 games in action. North Carolina, number 1 team in the country, they win against James Madison, and then Pittsburgh there is playing Alabama State down early. So I want to thanks again for watching. Hopefully you have a good rest of the day, and take care.